What do you got there? Is that a Yeti thing?
Yeah, what do you got there? I got COVID. Yeti.
Nice. My dad is obsessed with the Yeti. He won't, every time I talk to him, he talk about the Yeti. Oh, put hot drinks in there. 6 hours later, still hot. Cold drinks.
It is actually amazing how long they last. He's right. It's a good product. I gave probably half dozen of them out for Christmas gifts this year.
Really?
Mine must be still, teachers, doctors, everybody that I deal with at any point get like a personalized color.
What's it like dealing with being surrounded by people that you know are way smarter than you?
Gotten used to it over the years.
Well, it can help, but it's like association, right? So you're in there and you're like, yes, that's correct. You got a pipe.
What's funny is doctors, my wife, I try to tell her, I'm like, you got to understand from perspective of a patient, like to you, when you talk like that, it makes sense. But to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like you're just saying a bunch of words. I don't know what they mean. You need to literally dumb it down for me. Like make it so basic. And then when it sounds like you're teaching a 2-year-old kid, then I am understanding. I think their brains just operate totally different. But at the same, I totally put all the Christmas decorations away, cleaned the whole house, everything was away. And then she was home for 30 minutes. And then I was like, so Christmas is gone. And she was like, the tree too? And I'm like, yeah, it's all gone.
You notice.
But that's the thing. The brains operate on different levels. Like they, those kinds of things can just like totally go under the radar. But like it's all the particular, the stuff that my brain just cannot process.
It's the nomenclature, Dave. It's the nomenclature that us laymen. I like the word layman.
I love it.
Us laymen do not understand. We are used to the local colloquialisms.
And I don't understand what you're saying either.
It's like the slang.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the word layman because we're all laymen. That's why, like, people always nowadays too, with everything that's going on with politics and with the pandemic stuff, everyone's smarter than doctors and scientists. All of a sudden, you talk to someone's like, actually.
Right.
What it is. I'm like, look, we're all laymen. We all.
Send my wife all the memes that are like people just like searching Google as their research as for medical research, and she loves it.
Oh, they do it in front of her. Did she ever have people come in like off WebMD or something? Actually,
I'm sure all the time. Yeah, of course.
And she's like,
that's good.
Seems like you can do this by yourself. I'll just take off. So do we talk because this is going to air, I don't know when this is going to air, but it's the 2020's over. This is it.
Yeah, it's ending. It's just about over. It's exciting. I'm going to get a dog tomorrow. I'm getting a puppy.
Oh my god, have you named your puppy yet?
I think my son named her Sunny because he's obsessed with planets and the sun. So when we went and picked out the dog, she had a yellow collar, and that was it. He was like, Sunny.
I like that. That's a great name.
Yeah.
Is it a yellow lab? Is it a golden retriever?
It is a golden retriever, yeah. So it's going to be a good name.
Son sounds smart. Your son sounds like he already has the doctor nomenclature.
Well, when you asked me about being around people smarter than me all day, I just assumed you were talking about my 2- and 4-year-old.
People always assume, like, what do we know?
I tell you all the time about the stuff that he says, like when he's like, Dad, how do you spell nebula? It's another word for a cloud of dust and gas particles.
Did your kids ever like say something that blows your mind?
Yeah, every day. It's hilarious.
Wow, I don't know. How are you already smarter than me?
I seriously tell him all the time. I'm like, I don't know. And you know what we do? He's like, he'll say, can you ask Siri? And I'm like, yeah, let's ask Siri if we can figure out what other dwarf planets there are. Sure, let's go find out. Because that's right.
The internet is so good these days because kids actually can learn so much. But adults, on the other hand, we've somehow gotten dumber from the internet. It's so true. It's like,
we don't know how to use it.
You can learn. And it's like, nah, I'm just going to just look at terrible memes, which is what
he comes up to me. How many dwarf planets are there in the universe? And I'm like, well, son, there's just no way we'll ever know. He's like, hey, Siri, how many dwarf planets are there in the universe? There's 5. Oh, okay. Well, that's the difference. Wow,
I like how your kid asked you first, and when you said your answer, your kid was like, okay. I don't believe you. I'm going to go to the smarter person.
I think he just does that to be polite.
That's awesome. Hey, Dad, what's 2 plus 2? It's 4. Siri, what's 2 plus 2? It's 4. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dad, you're actually right for a change. You got one.
That's amazing. Oh, man. Well, touring. We have some updates. The update is that there's no update.
Yeah, the update is no touring.
It's an interesting topic to discuss because we have friends that are in bands that are touring, that are doing shows, but everyone's situation is different. Like ours is tough because like financially, every time we do a show, it costs $1 gazillion because we have everyone's from different
guys and
there's production and stuff, so we can't just go do 1 or 2 shows and then fly home. We wouldn't, especially if like these places have like cut down sizes, they're doing
and they want to right now too, which is funny. It's a dangerous time because they can literally like send some kind of weird offer to us right now, and we're just like, oh, you mean we could be playing a show? We could be putting a show on the books. Let's do it. It's for free. And we're like, oh, okay, it's not a good idea, but we could be playing.
Yeah. So tough. It's funny too, because I'm always like, oh, we'll be playing by this time, 100%, guys. And it's like silence. Everyone's like, yeah, I don't think so. Oh yeah, we'll be back out there by April. We'll be back. Oh yeah, we'll be. And then it just keeps being moved, pushed back. And I'm like, I'm just trying to be optimistic.
It's good to be optimistic right now. I think it's, I still talk about touring just because it makes me happy. It makes me feel like that's where I am. I talk about touring. It's like if I live an opposite life where I'm like 9 p.m. comes right now and I'm like bedtime, and then I'm up at 5 a.m. And then we go on tour and I'm in bed at 3 a.m. and awake at 1 p.m. the next day. Something, and maybe not that late, but it's just like it flip flops. You go on tour, and for me, all of my responsibility goes away, and I just get to be a kid again. So I miss it.
And we are like, and the older I get, I appreciate it more and more. Like when we started, I did not appreciate like what we had. I was miserable on the road. Like I just couldn't adapt. Like me and you both, we lived like at home. I lived with my dad, and you lived up the street.
Yep.
And I heard your house is for sale, by the way. Did it sell? Your old childhood home? How are they going to tear it down?
I heard it's worth like $1 million or something, and I'm like, what?
I think it's just
going on. It's the location. It's just the location now.
It's heritage. And so they're turning into a heritage house because you lived.
That's awesome. They should turn 1/12 or 72nd into Theory of a Deadman Lane.
They should. Deadman Lane. It just doesn't sound good. It doesn't really roll off. It just sounds like something out of a Sherlock Holmes mystery. We're going to change this. Yeah.
Where were you going on this before we went off on the house tangent? You were talking about something.
I don't know. We were going to name our podcast Tangents, remember?
I know.
That's what we do.
I still think it's a great name. Tangents.
That's what we do. Oh, God. I don't remember. Talking about your house? Oh, I was talking about it was hard to adapt on the road because like Dean grew up and then he moved out like immediately.
Right.
Out of high school, and he moved into the full-on bachelor or the frat, pretty much like a frat house. So him and 3 other dudes lived in a mass house, and they had the full, like you go in the kitchen, had the beer can wall.
Oh, I went to many parties at Dean's house. I don't think they liked me and my buddies coming around as much because we were a little.
You're younger.
We're younger. We're a little more. Plus, I mean, they respected each other's house and stuff. Like, and I think we just came and like Shane would be puking in the chip bowl or something. Something would be going on.
Yeah. Some good parties there. A lot of experimenting went on. But yeah, I mean, so Dean went from that to touring. So he was just like, I live. It's the same. for me and you, like, it was a bit of a culture shock just being around people all the time. It was just like, it was weird. I could not adapt well.
Your bunk, and I mean, you remember my bunk I used to literally turn my bunk into a livable domicile. Like I could stay there for a week.
You had Christmas lights in there.
I had some lights. I would set up a Xbox or PlayStation or something so that I could watch movies and play games. And it would get like 1,000 degrees in there because those machines would run so hot. But yeah, that was your space, right? You went from like feeling like you used to be able to have space to all of a sudden living in a tiny little container where you were always around people. And I liked having the bunk just because it was like the one place I could go close my curtain and have my own place.
Yeah, we joked like we were going to get you like a doorbell.
Yep.
We were like, we should get Dave a doorbell. Like, yep. See if he's in there. But that was always like, where's Dave? He's probably in his bunk. That was just like, where's Dave? And then now, like, I'll wake up and I'll look over and your bunk will be open and you'll have like, now you're like full on like OCD. You have like stuff lined up on your bunk, like your phone, socks. Everything's lined up perfectly.
I am OCD, yeah. Full OCD for sure.
And I don't know where you are. You're out there somewhere.
Yeah, you get into a routine, right? Where you just like things start to be very routine. You want to wake up and get to your things. And so, yeah. And plus, when you're living in a moving vehicle, it's not like you have a bathroom where your toothbrush is. You have to keep everything, your little setup, and you go in there and open
travel
up your
bag.
Stuff. Yeah. So it's a little tricky. At times.
Now I appreciate it so much more. Like you said, our lives are really on the road are ridiculous. There is no responsibility.
Yeah.
Like none. I remember I got like, and the thing is like, no matter where you are, you always have to find something to complain about, no matter how small and silly it is. I remember I got caught. I was on the phone with a friend once chatting about something, and still to this day, she bugs me about it. But I went into catering or something and I went in there and they're out of bacon. And I was pissed. I was like, are they out of bacon? Where's the bacon? Who ate all the bacon? And then she's like, oh my God, Mr. Rockstar needs his bacon. And after that, I was like so embarrassed. I was like, yeah, it's pretty lame.
Well, it's all relative, it's hard to be complacent. Everybody wants to, if you wake up and you want to complain about something, you find it. You'll find it.
Yeah. So it's about being on the level. I mean, that's because, as soon as we got on the road, I mean, we immediately were touring with bands that we
were listening to.
We do play festivals and, immediately we're on festivals with major bands. And we did some shows, like we immediately got slotted with, and we were, our first record was pretty heavy. It was more of like a Southern rock dirge kind of heavy, it was tuned down to B, drop B. But we were playing shows with like Disturbed and Korn and stuff. And it was in Florida or something. We did that one show where like Vanilla Ice came on our bus by mistake.
Yep.
And then we're like, whoa. And he hung out and took a picture with us stuff. And he was looking for someone else's bus, but he just walked right on our bus. But that was the one where like, wasn't some of the dudes just flipping us off the whole time?
What do you mean? That was the one?
But it's hard to get used to, right? It's like, there's quite a few shows in the beginning, especially if you're a band that no one knows. Like we did some shows opening for Seven Dust. That's a band that, like, by the way, is a phenomenal band. They're great guys. And we had a great time, but their fans, they don't care about us. They don't care about the opener. And I'm getting people whipping shit at me and stuff. And it was tough.
I think fondly upon that time, like as like us really paying our dues, touring, because we did play in front of, like, as a band that's not an overtly heavy band, playing in front of heavy metal fans is tough. And everything we did in Europe was like that. It was all metal stuff, and we were always on the metal stages. And
Mudvayne.
And some of that stuff was tough. We were literally playing shows where people were yelling Mudvayne, Murder Dolls, and stuff like that between songs, and we're like, oh God, are we going to survive this show? 30 minutes set.
This one's called Make Up Your Mind. And we're just like, oh man, some shows were tough to get through because we were just on stage, and we were just literally like, we had one or two crew guys. We were just up there. We're like, you guys ready for a kick-ass rock show? And We try to be, and that's back when like
Benjamin show that we played in Detroit at Harpos, and right before the show or something, Breaking Benjamin, they canceled or something happened, and then they asked if we still wanted to play the show and us headline, and of course we did, and it was an awesome show. I remember it being an awesome show, but there was that one guy that kept looking at me, and he was like, doing this,
doing the cut your throat thing. Yeah,
we're like, hey, after the set, we're gonna be signing, and of course during the set, he's doing that, and I'm like chucking pics at him, and I'm like,
yeah,
and
you're doing
and then I realize,
so
wait a
good.
minute, like, I got to go out here after it. This is not good. But
thanks, Ty. I'm up there like, we're gonna meet every single one of you after the show. We're coming down there. And you're Dave. You're like, no, not tonight, not tonight.
Let's cut that. Let's cut it. Yeah, good.
We paid our dues. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like we usually were always the lightest band on the bill, and nowadays we're okay with that, because it wasn't long after that once we started doing our own headline shows, and we had some more ballads, we started noticing like a lot more women were coming to the show, front row, singing, and we're excited, and we're like, what do
light bulb?
A light bulb went up. Bing. Yeah. So for us, it was less about the guys with their shirts off moshing.
What's funny though is that, like you said, with the festivals, it was so easy to kind of be friends with other bands, because it kind of felt like they were the kind of guys I was friends with back home, which was all band guys and stuff anyway. So, like getting on tour and meeting other bands, it always has seemed very easy, because it's just, they're the same kinds of people. They all just,
and they're usually the nicest guys too. Like it's, the singer from Five Finger, like he would just come on our bus, hang out.
Yeah, exactly.
Bass player for Godsmack, Robbie.
Oh, he just wanted to come play hockey. He wanted to play EA, NHL 2012. I don't know what year we were playing.
Yeah, whatever. That was 2008 or 9 or something.
Well, okay. So he would come. He wanted to bring moonshine. He wanted to come play hockey. Which I loved.
Yeah, he would just come on our bus almost every day, and they'd just be like, "What's up, guys? Robbie." Yeah, I think they're Boston. He'd always have. I think he had a Boston jersey.
He's a big hockey,
but great guy. And then same with remember we had that one badass bus, that one festival. It was an orange bus, and the bay doors came up and had 2 flat screen TVs in it.
Yeah.
And we were a hit
at all the festivals.
We were a hit, and then we would just sit out there with our lawn chairs. The Mastodon singer came over or something, and
he came up to me and he goes, "I dare you to smoke a joint with me." It was the best, and I'm like, "All right, dare accepted."
That's that's what we gotta do. We gotta get that bus back, or get a bus with the flat screen TVs in it, because it's a hit. You're right. People are like, "Wait a minute,
makes you popular."
These guys are watching the football game on it. Let's go. Who is it? It's Theory Of A Deadman. Yeah.
Let's go anyway.
Yeah. Our guest is he's an insanely amazing rapper. He's a musician. He sings as well. He's a great singer too. But it brings up, like, Dave, were you ever into rap at all? Did you ever have a rap stage in your life like I did?
Yeah, but it was like MC Hammer style rap, like
Dave,
it was.
That's not what
didn't really count.
Were you into Snap? And like,
no, I don't know what that was.
Snap is I got the power, and you don't want that. I will attack. Young MC, Fresh Prince. That's all hardcore stuff.
I mean, I knew some Fresh Prince. I liked all his stuff. It was right up my alley,
because he didn't swear.
Yeah.
I was into like Public Enemy. I got into like the gangster rap, NWA, Eazy-E. I remember listening to Straight Outta Compton in my house once. And my mom flipped. Oh my God. I mean, it didn't take long when she realized what NWA stood for. That was not happening in our house. Yeah, but I got into that rap a little bit.
Well, wasn't your first show? What was your first show? You went to a rap show.
Ice-T. First show I ever went to was Ice-T. I got punched in the face.
That's good.
Well, because I remember like before we went in, there was like these, those guys that sell stuff on the street. waiting in line. And these guys were selling, they're bootlegger guys, and they were selling, back then it was all about like Africa Islam. They had the Africa Islam symbol. It was like Africa with the colors. And like, I remember a lot of these rappers were wearing them to represent, and so we thought that was cool. So these guys were selling them. So a couple of my friends bought them, which, just silly white kids. And then I'm like, I'm going to get the peace symbol. So I bought a peace symbol. And I remember they wore them to school the next day, and they almost got beat up. And they had to take them off or something.
I thought this story was leading to you getting punched in the face. So
Oh, no, I got punched in the face because I was like right up front. And the opener was actually MC Everlast, who ended up after he stopped rapping, he became Everlast. So this was back when he was like a rapper. And I think he was on stage and he had like a handkerchief or something. And he they just throw everything to the crowd. Rappers just throw so much stuff. And he threw something in the crowd, his handkerchief or something, and this guy caught it, and I just like grabbed it and tried to grab it. Of course, he was with like 3 or 4 of his friends, and they just started like pummeling. I remember getting full punch right in the face. I was like 14.
So good.
I was like, go over.
You learn, right? You learn not to take away anybody else's handkerchief.
Yeah, it was my fault. But then we do like a show. I remember we did a show, some festival.
Didn't you see your peace shirt?
Didn't you see the piece?
Didn't you see you were wearing the peace shirt? I don't get it.
No, such good times. So many great mistakes. The show was great though. Yeah, but I remember we did a festival, and it was like we did a couple shows that had rappers on it. We did one show, and it was like it was a weird lineup. It was somewhere down in the South, and it was Lynyrd Skynyrd was closing, but like LL Cool J went on before Lynyrd Skynyrd. And he like was throwing money into the audience, and then he took his watch off and threw it in the audience. And I was like, "It's crazy." I kind of wish I was in the audience. It probably was a nice watch.
Now I know why people are going to these shows.
But we did that one festival. Same thing. I can't remember who headlined it, but it was you remember it because there was.
I think it was Alice in Chains.
It was Alice in Chains. You already know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. And there was some rapper. I think it was Akon.
That's it.
And we were backstage, and he had a bunch of these bodyguards with him. And we walked past. We were just minding our business. And didn't one of the bodyguards give you a huge shoulder or something?
Was it me? I don't recall that. But
I thought it was you. And me and you were like, "What's going on here?" And we were like, we just walked away because it was just like this weird vibe backstage where like these guys were they were just like bodyguards. But that's the difference, right? With us, it was just like you could go knock on any of these bands' dressing rooms and what's up? And the rap thing was just like bodyguards. Dave got beat up. I mean, that's how the story will go. People will remember.
That's fine. It's like, I got beat up by a bodyguard, Paul McCartney at that Grammy party. Him too. It's the same.
You got beat up by Paul McCartney?
No, Paul McCartney couldn't get into that one Grammy party.
Oh, that's right. Same thing.
Somebody's bodyguard wouldn't let him in. But yeah, those guys are getting paid.
Who's this old man?
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah. Bodyguards. That's a good thing to talk about at some point. But yeah, let's, what do you want to do? You want to bring this guy on?
Let's bring him on. Let's chat with him. I'm excited to talk to him.
Hey, our guest today is a Philadelphia-born rapper and musician who debuted on the recently resurrected Atco Records with the song Leave the Light On. He can be heard all over with his new song, In My Hands, featuring Travis Barker and Clever, and also on our new single, Strangers. Please welcome 0936.
Hello. That was a great intro.
That was
not
good.
bad?
That was great.
This is where you're like, actually, it's not this, it's not this.
No. Actually, that was all good. That was great. I've been seeing an article where everybody keeps saying I'm 25 and I'm not. So that article will be good for another 2 years. I'm 23. So that article will be good for another BS. 2 years. I don't know.
0936. He's 47 years old. 40 still lives with his mom.
45. Still live with my mom. Moving out soon. Thanks to the feature money from you guys.
Yes, making the big dollars.
Yeah.
But she did make lasagna tonight, so maybe, yeah.
I'll stay for a little bit, but once the check clears, I'm buying a house.
Mom,
man,
meatloaf.
That's from Wedding Crashers. You want some meatloaf? You want some meatloaf? So good.
I haven't seen that movie since it probably came out.
Well, it's touring, right? Touring is when I watch all my Will Ferrell movies.
Sounds like good Will Ferrell time.
That's a Will Ferrell movie, even if he's not one of the two main actors.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. He's in it. It's his movie.
So your real name is Matthew Cullen?
It is.
Who calls you that? Does anybody call you that? Do you not like being called that?
Nobody calls me that. None of my friends, not my mom. Nobody calls me that. It's very strange. It's like the weirdest thing. I introduce myself as Matt to people because I feel like my artist name is like a name that's like, what are you trying to do here when you introduce yourself as that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you met a guy and he was like, yo, what's up? Like my name's Switchblade. You'd be like, okay. You know what I'm saying?
I dig it. I think you got to roll with it, man. You're zero. That's it.
I don't know.
Who you are now.
It seems like cocky or something, even if it's not. It just seems like weird to introduce. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's a good attitude to have.
Yeah.
But I think, you chose that because it's a moniker that you want to have. And I just think it's just, I'm sure you'll probably, as you get into it more, that's just who you'll be. Everyone will just see you as zero and that's it.
Yeah, I don't do interviews or anything. Like I don't get asked to do interviews. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the people do. Like I know, grandson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone just calls him Jordan for the most part. Strange.
Except for his grandparents.
Except for his grandparents. those two are specifically excluded.
Yeah, he's a good Canadian kid.
Oh yeah. Shout out Canada. Never been there, but I do want to go get. Matty Matheson. You know who that is?
Yep.
He has a meat and 3 up there. I'm trying to come up and get some ribs or brisket. I don't know, whatever they have.
Where's that? Is it in Montreal or something? Where's that?
I don't
Toronto,
know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Not very often people are trying to get up to Canada to get like the barbecue
ribs.
Yeah, but that's my guy. My girlfriend ordered me his cast iron pan for Christmas. I won't get it for another 2 months, but I'll get it soon.
It'll come when a Tesla arrives.
Oh no, I that 13 months of waiting.
I got in trouble today actually with a cast iron pan. I left it in the sink with water in it.
Terrible.
And my nanny, who's looking after the kids, she's like, I pulled that cast iron pan out and I got the water out. The water is the death of a cast iron pan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I don't know. I feel like I'm so embarrassed. Right? It's like I'm from the South. We know how to take care of cast iron. I don't know if you know how to do it there in Canada.
It doesn't seem like you know.
I probably don't.
You can't leave water, and you can't wash it with soap either.
I'm like, no, it's not water. It's soapy water.
That's even worse. Even worse. The meat and 3 is in Ontario, by the way. I don't know where you guys are. It's in Fort Erie.
Okay.
And Tyler and I, we both have left Canada. So Ty's in LA.
Oh. Okay.
I'm in Tennessee. I'm down south now. So this is where the barbecue's at. There's meat and 3. My neighbors make meat and 3 pretty much every weekend.
Oh, wow. Well, I was just in Tennessee not too long ago and I was not invited. So it's cool.
Well, now you know I'm here. Now you know I'm here.
I know. Now I know where to get the meat and 3 closer.
And, when Dave found out now that he lives in the South that, from Canada or maybe up in, maybe even in Philly, like barbecue in Canada is the apparatus you use to cook stuff on. The barbecue.
Yeah.
I'm gonna barbecue some burgers. Anybody up for that? But in the South, barbecue is the food. You cook it on a grill.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you cook it on a grill.
That's here too. I don't think I think people say we're going to barbecue like as an activity. But right. I don't think anybody says, "Hey, throw some ribs on the barbecue." You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's so Canadian.
Yeah, it's totally Canadian. You start to realize it when you hear it. When you start to hear the things, you're like, yeah, and actually that is Canadian.
It's pretty strange too. It's a pretty
I'm getting good though now at just throwing out the grill word. I'm like, hey, we're grilling out.
Yeah, that's good
tonight.
It's good to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of Canadianisms that I've lost over the years. Like they don't say bank machine in the States. They go to a gas station, like, you guys have a bank machine? They're like, what?
An ATM. Oh. Yeah, an ATM.
Parking garage, they call it a parkade.
Parkade in Canada.
Parkade.
No. Yeah. No.
But my favorite is the garbage disposal. They call it.
Oh, right.
It's the Terminator of garbage. It's the garburator.
Is that what they call it?
In Canada, you get a garburator. No. It sounds way better.
And I don't like Parkade because it's too close to arcade, and there's a lot less fun at the Parkade. Like I don't know. I think that's too close for two complete opposites. But
Parkade, I don't know how many. I was gonna say I don't know how many arcades have homeless people and smells like piss.
and less than one arcade machine.
Hey, when I was young, we couldn't do the arcade or the parquet. We did parks and ditches, which was literally what we used to call hanging out because we were too young to drink legally anywhere. So we did parks and ditches. Somebody's older brother or older sister would buy us alcohol, and then we just hit the streets.
You said house very Canadian like.
Yeah, I still have my Canadian.
Yeah.
People down here, they and I'm like in Chattanooga. I'm right on the Georgia border here. They know instantaneously when I talk to anybody here that almost the first question is, "So where are you from?" Yeah,
you're not fooling anybody.
Where are you from? I'm like, I'm from just grilling out back.
Nah, I don't think it's gonna work.
I just came from the parkade, my man. Just took some cash out of the bank machine, and they're like, "You are from Canada."
Yeah, figured it out.
Yeah, man. Not fooling anybody.
Speaking of Canada, like, if you haven't been up there, but have you done a lot of touring at all?
No, I've done a very minimal amount, less than reputable amount. Whatever the smallest amount you can do is, I've done that.
Wait, so you're ready to get on the road then and do some more touring?
I was about to do a tour, and then I was not about to because of the COVID. And I have a few lined up for when this thing's over. So I'm hoping. Thing is,
what does your tour production look like? Like, do you have a full band? Do you do? Yeah, you got to.
I have a keyboard player, a drummer, a guitar player, and we do. My keyboard player runs a lot of tracks. We have like a rig. It's really
cool
because we do a lot of things that are kind of not possible to play in our music. You know what I mean? So, but like my drummer has an electronic drum pad as well as the live, so he switches back and forth so that there's a little more that we can do like all the trap shit on that and then switch.
All dynamic.
Yeah, but we've only done a few, so hopefully we'll be able to use all the shit we bought soon.
Yeah, nice. It's been a weird year just not being able to tour. It's one of those things that I don't think that I would have been able to process if somebody told me, "Hey, take the next year off of touring." I'd have been like, "Nah, it's just not how you do it. That's just not how we do it." But so it's going to be more than a year for us. We played our last show February 29th, which is weird to me because it's literally a leap year, right? Like we actually played on the 29th of February and then flew home on March 1st.
Yeah, very lucky. At least you played up until then. I know a lot of people who were who didn't tour this year, and then a lot of people who I was talking to my friend Jordan from Hollywood Undead, and he was telling us that they were in the middle of their like European tour. Not even like the middle, like the part that they like had to get through before they can do like the big shows. And then that day before the big shows hit, they had to get sent home. So that shit sucks.
Yeah, we had this really exciting summer planned. We were really looking forward to this Breaking Benjamin tour that we were going to go on, and amphitheaters, and it was just like we hadn't done a tour like that in a while. And I was like starting to think about Crew Fest when we did Crew Fest, and we used to play those outdoor summer. Oh, it's just like the most memorable, joyous time.
Yes,
so many fun shows. Just to cancel, it was to fly home in March and then cancel spring tour and then cancel summer. Oh.
I know, like the day that everything got canceled, they were like, "Hey, we're going to cancel the first week of the tour." And we were like, "Okay, that sucks." And then it was like, "Hey, we're going to have to cancel the second one." And then it was like, "Hey, the shows are back on, but they're like 50 caps max." And I was like, "Okay, whatever. Like, I don't care." And then it was eventually like, "Okay, it's not going to happen." And then I had to cancel all 3 of the festivals I got booked for, which would have been sick, but I was doing one with Slipknot, so kind of hurts my heart a little bit. Yeah. But hopefully next year. Well, probably not next year. Let's be honest.
I know it's almost depressing thinking about it, but
it's like someone asked me, like, "What do we do for a living?" It's like musician just seems so gross, but I like to say like professional traveler. What do you do for a living? I travel.
That's better. Today they were like, when I was picking up my car, they were like, "Hey, so what's your schedule like?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't fucking
wide open, man.
I don't know. I don't have anything to do." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "All right." I don't know he didn't ask me what I did. He just asked me what my schedule's like, and I didn't. It's not a schedule.
Yeah.
There's no schedule.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah,
what's your schedule like? It's wiped clean, man.
It's wiped empty. Clean.
Well, it's weird because and Dave, you told me stories before as well. Like when, if I like playing golf, and I'll golf with whoever. I'll go golf by myself, and I get paired up with some couple of old dudes, and they always want to know what you do. So, Tyler, what do you do? And I just usually make stuff up because I just don't like getting into it. I'm retired. I usually say I'm retired. Oh, really? Yeah. Wow. Must be nice. I'm like, yep. Or I'll go get my hair cut. And they're like, so Tyler, what's your social security number? You know, they want to know everything. What's your PIN number? Like, seriously, they want to know. And I'd be like, I'm a musician. Oh, I told one lady by mistake, and she played me like she went on Spotify and played me all of her songs while we got my haircut. And it was really good.
Yeah, but it's just
her songs or your songs?
No, it was her songs.
Yeah.
Because she was worse if she's like, let's see who you are. Okay, let's turn it on. Let's crank it up.
She did. She went and found RX and cranked it up in the barber. And I'm like, it's for me. I'm like, no. So now I just lie.
I hate that.
I'm in the FBI or something. I tell people that.
I try my best not to tell people. It's better now that I'm like, do this kind of music. Because before they were like, oh, what do you do? And it's like, well, I just rap. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to get out of here now.
Yeah. Silence.
It's like, all right, I'm just going to. Now
so
it's
is the singing kind of new for you then, or were you just rapping before? Because that's something that really caught my attention on Strangers was a lot of the singing stuff you did kind of after the rap verse, and I love that stuff. I think I think you got a really great singing voice too. Was that not something that you used to do when you were first starting out?
So I never knew what like tuners were before. So like when I started recording music when I was like 11 or 10 or something, my details get lost and I change it every time. So now I try and do broader things.
You're 6.
Yeah, I was between 6 and 16. I started recording music and I didn't know like a tuner. So I would try to sing and I'd be like, oh man, like this is terrible. This is awful. And then I got with the producer that I still make all my stuff with, Andrew, No Love for the Middle Child. We do everything together. And when we started working together when I was 18-ish, it's between 15 and 20. We started working together and he was like, this is how you sing with the tuner. You can hear it in your, live. So then I started to do it more and he would kind of coach me a little bit. It wasn't that great, but I have done singing hooks for like the last 5 years. So, but then that's about it though for the majority of the singing career.
It's funny you mentioned No Love for the Middle Child. I was just talking to Ty before you got on, and I just sort of through you being connected to the song, I went and checked out your stuff, and I love it. For me, I love that. I love like new branches of music that I can go and climb out on and try to sort of just discover new stuff. And I love a lot of, I'm a big fan of youth movement. I love hearing, what younger people are doing. I heard you're like 35 now, but
yeah, I'm like, turning 35.
I went and checked out No Love, and I really think he reminds me of Tyler because he's like, it shows him as a clip of him playing guitar and he's shredding up and down the neck and he's playing the drums and he's shredding on the drums all over. And I'm like, this guy can just play everything and he tracks everything and sings everything. He seems like one of those guys who's he's got the talent down to be able to track everything and get it all going.
So what part reminds you of me?
I think you said he's handsome. You said Andrew.
He's got great hair.
Yeah, that's what reminds me of you. For the most part. No, he's great. He produces everything that I have out. I work with a few other producers on shit, like just collaborative. But for the most part, it's just me and him kind of making our stuff together.
Is he from there too? Are you guys both from the same town? Or?
Yeah, we met at like a show in Philly. So
cool.
we've been working together, and then we moved in together last year in LA. And then I think he's going to go back before me. So I think he's going to move in but I don't need to be out there right now. It's terrible out there. It's awful.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stay over here for a little bit.
TLA, Electric Factory. Is it Electric Factory?
It's the Electric Factory is the bigger one. The TLA is the smaller one.
And do they still have the Philadelphia Music Conference in Philadelphia?
I think they do.
Yes. Do you remember that, Ty? So my band before I was playing in Theory, we sent out our demos like all over the country and got accepted to play the Philadelphia Music Conference. Okay. So we booked a show, and Tyler, your band opened the show, was one of the bands that played the show, and we just raised money.
Was it Theory?
We actually it wasn't Theory, but some of the songs were from the original demos that got signed.
Yeah. Point to Prove was one of the I think I probably played that there. This was, what year was this? Late 90s?
Like late 90s.
Yeah,
late 90s, and we drove. Me and my other band, we rented a car and we drove to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Music Conference. And I still think of that as like my inaugural touring. It's like four guys just like in a minivan packed full of gear driving from Vancouver to Philadelphia in January. It was a
terrible,
crazy nightmare of a 3-week period.
And it's probably snowing, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there was a ton of snow, but the Philadelphia Music Conference, that whole experience was awesome. And it was kind of like when you're a young band, for us, it was cool just to meet other people, other bands. Bands came up from Florida to play. And it was just seemed like another world to me at the time.
Did you guys meet there?
No, I knew Tyler and all these guys just from the local scene just outside of Vancouver. It's the same kind of thing, like how you meet guys at shows in your local hood. It's a small music scene that I remember when my band broke up that did the Philadelphia Music Conference. It was like a week later, I called Tyler and I was like, I got no band. I need a jam. He's like, we're jamming on Wednesday. Bring beers. That's literally how the conversation went. And I had to figure out how to bring 24 beers on my bicycle.
Sounds Canadian.
That's right. He did. Yeah, he did ride he rode his bike over to my house. But it's interesting is that you went on this. You went on that trip. Too? What's that?
With your instruments too? Like you brought 20? Oh, okay. Go ahead. Sorry. I was like, how did you manage all of that? Anyway, go ahead.
My Marshall stack.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, didn't you get in a big car accident or something, and someone hit their head and got a concussion?
Oh yeah, and we had to change vans like 3 days into the tour because we went to Calgary, we partied all night and played a show and like just partied, and then we drove in the morning, so we didn't go to sleep. And so I took the first shift of driving, and we did like 2-man driving. We drove for like 6 hours, and then we swapped drivers to the people that had been sleeping all morning, and they crashed like 30 minutes into their shift.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, and then Mike, our bass player, he hit his head on like the arm of the door and got all concussed, and then we had to go take him to the hospital. It was a full thing, man. It was a full thing. Road to Philly.
Yeah.
We hardened you guys up, and then when you got back, you're like, all right, break up.
We quit. Broke up. We can't be a band. I hate you all.
That's not right to me.
Well, you have to learn. That's how you learn. If you can survive on the road together.
There it is.
Because you literally have nowhere to go. So you have about 8 cubic feet.
Zero, you have that to look forward to. You really, you find out pretty quick, like who you can spend 24 hours a day with. We were lucky because there were some crew guys that were a little weird over the years.
Yeah, now you
were lucky that
probably get the 2 buses. I know like the I Prevail guys had their own band bus and their own crew bus, and that's probably nice.
Yeah, you can. It gets expensive, but you can do crew and band bus.
I can't, but some people can.
Yeah, we were lucky. We started in the days where people were still buying records and labels were spending money.
I feel like the streaming shit kind of sucks because like it's hard when you're putting out like a full project because you can't put all the best shit on there because whatever the 10th song is not going to get streamed well. And it's like, we can't throw it away. And then it's like, well, it's too good to be track 10, but it's not as good as the other songs. But if it was on a project, you'd put your whole best foot forward, which I kind of wish that's how shit was still. Like I wish people were, but then I'm like, do I really, as a consumer, want that? Probably not.
It's weird, yeah. It feels like the music business is doing this shift right now, where it was going, but it feels like it's coming back actually, because I think you think like back to like the '60s where it was a singles market, and it was like somebody would record a song and they'd have a B-side, and it was like they would release that and tour it. It seems like it's almost it went to these long players, 8, 10 songs, 12 songs, and now it's going back, right? The consumers, I think. They don't necessarily want to buy 12 songs anymore. Some do, but it seems like the majority of people that are listening to music, they just want to go and absorb, 3 minutes of you, and then maybe even absorb that same 3 minutes over again.
I think, I mean, for the most part, I think now 10 songs is long enough for an album, because there's 7 albums every week by an artist you like.
Right.
So it's like, well, not one singular artist with 7 albums a week, just like 7 albums by, different artists.
Yeah.
Weekly. And it's kind of hard to listen to a 20-track album or a 15-track album when there's 7 more of those, the same week. So I don't know. I get it, but it's just everything is so accessible and there's so many more artists now that it kind of sucks. But it is what it is.
Well, people digest music differently now because of the ability to have access to it immediately. Like you said, there's a million songs right on my phone. Or before, like if you wanted to listen to an album, you had to literally go to the store and buy it. And so it was more of a grandiose. I mean, Thriller sold 50 million albums, and Back in Black sold 50 million. Yeah.
Never going to happen.
I saw Halsey put something out saying that she's like, oh, my album went platinum this year. One of 8 albums that went platinum this year. I'm like, that's it?
That's crazy. Because it's so many. You need so many streams to go platinum. It's like 150 streams per sale, and then it's like divided by the tracks or whatever, however they do it. And I mean, even when I was a kid, though, it was still buying records. So it was like I could either go get a hard copy and then burn it, or I could buy it on iTunes. So I would have every hard copy up until I was like 15, So
it used to be a ritual, man. Like records came out on Tuesdays, I would have my money ready. I knew which ones were coming. I just loved going to the store, and they would let you open up any compact disc you want and listen to it right there.
Yep.
I remember finding a tribute to John Lennon. It was called Working Class Hero, and it said one of the songs was by Mad
Green Day.
No. One of the songs was by Mad Season, and I needed to know if it was the Mad Season with Lane Staley singing. I was like, I had no way to find out back then. It wasn't like I could just look on my phone. I didn't have a phone, and so they just let me crack it open. And I remember listening to it, and it started playing. And as soon as Lane started singing, I was like, "Stop! I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't want to listen to it here. I just wanted to know if that's what it was. Now I got to go."
See, that's the difference. Is like I had all the info online on the computer. I had everything I needed to know, and then I would go and buy it, and then come home, burn it, put it on an iPod. But because, like I said, you either had to buy the album for $10 or buy the hard copy for $10. So it was like, it's still weird to me that the digital albums weren't ever less money. They were always the same price. I don't know.
I know. What's the overhead? It has
nothing to do with anything, but
what are your overheads?
I was just going to say, play the concourse. Well, what's even crazier is that everything with cost of living, right? Everything has been more expensive. Gas, food, cars, houses. But the one thing that's stayed the same, it's actually become cheaper, is music. It's because when we were kids, which is 100 years ago, you go even buy a cassette, it was $12.99, $15.99, $9.99 was and it's like now today you're like, wait a minute, I don't understand.
That was like the mid 90s, early 90s.
Yeah, it's the one thing is not gone. I mean, by now it's just like you go see a movie. It's $20 now to see a movie. When I was a kid, it was $2.50 Tuesdays.
Yeah,
I'm dating myself, but
15. Yeah, I never heard of it, but I'll tell you what, that it's crazy that the prices of hard copy music is still the same. That's weird, and it's weird because obviously you can stream, and I can't be mad at streaming because that's what let me quit my job like 5 years ago. Was streaming. You know what I mean? Like I would make enough money off Spotify and Apple Music streaming and shit to be able to not work. So can't really complain because I don't think I'd be selling many records.
I'm one of those people that's very like I accept. I am not like I remember Lars fighting back with the Napster thing, and it was like, man, there's no winning this war. This is like it's technology. You can't stop
progress.
Technology. Yeah, you can't stop it. It's going to happen.
My only problem with the streaming,
figuring out how to get in bed with it and make it work.
Yeah, my only problem with the streaming is what I said. I would like to put my best foot forward on every single song, but that's realistically not the best idea. You know what I mean? Right. You can't just release all 7 of your best songs because they can't all be singles. And, you know, and if I did that, I wouldn't have had a single for this EP because I would have put it on the last one if it was up to me.
Right.
And, you know, because we made Adrenaline like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I love that song. I checked that one out. You know, when you first were featured on our song, I checked that one out. But I did a re-listen last night to a bunch of stuff, and that song is, I think, my favorite of it. It's such a great song.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, and that was like the quickest song I ever wrote. So
those are the ones.
How it is.
I know. That's what they say. And yeah, we made that song over 2 years ago. At this point, it came out over 2 years after the initial recording. So. I wanted it on the first EP, and my manager was like, yo, it's not the time. Like, we got to hold it. We can't put it out. I was like, okay. He was right, because now it's like top 10 on Octane, and it was on the top 50 FM charts the other day for like a day, but we didn't go to radio with it yet. So hopefully when we do in the next few weeks, it stays there.
Oh, I'm sure.
You're going to have some catalog here once you get back out on the road. You're going to have some songs that people will have access to, which is actually really great.
Yeah, and the end. Have you heard that one?
Yep.
That was like the newest song I made as far as like to release date. I made it like 4 weeks before we released it. We were just like, yo, we got to get it out.
I love that.
Is that with Hollywood Undead?
The original one is with me, and then
you did the Undead one.
Yeah, and then Hollywood Undead's manager through one of my only shows that I've done so far, Rock Night Out. He does like a thing. And he showcases bands. And so he did mine. And we were just talking on the DMs one day, and I didn't know he managed Hollywood Undead. And I told him that's my favorite band from when I was a kid. As far as like who I've seen the most, I've seen them like 8 times from between the time I was like 10 and 15. And he was like, yo, you should work with them. I was like, you're telling me. He was like, I'll send them, like, you have a Dropbox of like unreleased stuff. And so that song was like ready to come out in like 6 days from that point. So they were like, hey, can we have this for our album? And I was like, I can't do that because it's literally coming out this week. But they were like, well, we'd be happy to remix it. And I was like, let's do it. So that was fucking sick as hell for me. And yeah, I've been working with those guys a lot on just their shit. And we wrote a song for my upcoming project, which comes out in a couple weeks. So
what's that like for you? I was talking to Tyler before you got on here, just talking about how, I played poker at Jerry Cantrell's house, and Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. It's like my guitar idol. Yeah. And I really had to like tell myself, like, dude, just stay on the level here. Stay on the level. This guy doesn't want you to fanboy on him. He wants you to just, he's going to kick you out of the house if you start, so I just had to remind myself, do you find yourself in these moments now with some of these situations? You say this is one of the bands you went and checked out a bunch of times, and now here they are listening to your music and wanting it on their record. That's pretty killer.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, I don't know if you cut off. Uh-oh. Hold on.
Frozen?
I don't know if you're frozen or if I'm frozen, but one of us is.
Can you hear me, Ty?
I can hear you, yep.
So we just lost him?
He'll come back.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, we lost you, yeah.
Okay. Was it me? Could you hear me that whole time?
No, you dropped.
Okay. You guys were both frozen, and then I wasn't sure if it was me or you guys. What was I saying? I think the biggest thing that I've learned is like, I don't know if I'm using the word right, but like humility, not like, you know what I'm saying? Like be a person. Like the first thing I did was I was like, hey, this is a picture of me and you when I was 10. And I showed it to him. Like that's the first. And so I was like, yo, I just want to let you know, this is fucking crazy to me. And he was like, hell yeah, that makes me really happy. So I feel like a lot of people kind of get it. You know what I mean? It's also, I think, easier because I'm younger. Like, I feel like if I was like 40, these dudes would be like, "What's up with you, man?" You You know what I mean?
And I think it's cool. I think you're right. I think it's totally cool though, because I think when you start working with younger artists, it brings you back. It makes you feel young. You get excited. The ideas are different. You guys, personally, I see a lot of the young guys doing stuff, and I'm like, man, this is so different than what I would have thought to do, or it's a different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, even when they reached out about doing the Strangers record, I was like, hell yeah, because I've listened to you guys for a while. I had I think I have a hard copy of one of the albums somewhere in here, but yeah. So I was like, hell yeah, fucking let's do it. So I was stoked on that, and I don't know. I just think with me, I try to just be upfront, because it'd be weird as hell if me and George from Hollywood Undead, the one I have a picture with, if like 3 years later I'm like, oh, by the way, look at us, and he'd be like, why didn't you? I don't know. I think a lot, but I think with me, I just kind of just like to be like, yo, bro, huge fan. It's fucking sick that you care to hang out with me. Let's get it, kind of thing. Cool. You know what I mean? So yeah. Well, I will show Corey Taylor the tattoo I have of him on my arm. Tell you that much.
He's fantastic.
He's such a cool guy. Sure. Yeah.
I have I said it in the Octane interview. It took like 23 hours or some shit to get done. Not fun, but that was like the first
23 hours.
It was like the first. I think one of the reasons I like rock music or metal music or any of that kind of music in general was Volume 3, the Slipknot album. So, and that was like the reason I started getting into heavy music was because of that. And it's just like it's a mask too. So I feel like it's not too personal, where it's like, hey man, look at this picture of you. You know what I mean? Because he'd be like, that's me. That's weird. Like, I feel like the mask is like a thing. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
Yeah, it's his persona. It's like his alter ego in a sense.
Which is the Strangers, which is the song, but also the movie. I don't think what's his name would see it and be like, yo, why do you have me on your arm? It's like, well, it's not really you. It's you with a bag on your head.
Who directed that? Who was that?
Because
that's a scary. That's the one with the guys that people have the bags over their head and they come knock on the door.
One dude has the bag. It had Liv Tyler in it.
Yeah, Liv Tyler
was the guy.
I had to rewatch that. That's in a cabin or something, and they get some creepy people to start knocking on the door. Hello.
Yeah, Brian Bertino.
Yeah, that's a really good one if no one's seen that. So you're a big tat guy? You got a lot of tats? Tats.
I started. They all take so long, because the guy I go to, he's a realism guy, and they just take so fucking long that I'm sick of it for like a month or 2 months. Right. I'm like, I'm not trying to do this. And you got to keep the wrap on for a week, and it smells like cheese. And my girlfriend gets upset with me. And
it smells good though, right? It's like it stinks, but you can't not. You're sitting there watching TV, and you're like,
I'll do this all week. I'll be like, and I'll just like be upset with myself. It's like, why did I do that? But they just take so fucking long, and they really do hurt. Anybody who's like, no, they don't hurt that bad is a fucking lie.
No. My worst was right here, right under my arm, man. Whew, that was the worst, right under the ribs.
Back of the arm hurts too.
I've been like, I have like, I don't know if you.
Oh, Chucky.
Yeah, and I had this, which is the character thing I have, and then the Corey Taylor one's up here, and then I have a 12-hour Joker tattoo on my leg, which I did in one sitting. Not fun. Yeah, and they're expensive as hell. Like, it's like, it's too much. So I'm gonna try and finish my arm this year.
Yeah, people
this year. I don't have time.
Some guys are like, it's $100 an hour. So it sounds like, how long did it take? 12 hours. Oh, it's $1,200. Like, yeah.
Oh no, and the guy I go to is way more than that. So
it's expensive. It's just like it's a drug, right?
I think I have like 30 or 4,500 on my arm. It's not only half done.
That's a lot.
Once you start really touring, there is some weird connection with, because you start doing festivals, you see other people with tats. You're like, where'd you get that done? Because I've got some tattoos from different places. Like I've got a tattoo from Ireland. I got a tattoo I got on the New York Ink show.
Yeah.
And some LA, some Vancouver. So it's almost like now you're like, oh, now it'd be cool to get a tattoo in Japan.
I definitely I thought that, like, before I got any, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get them all from everywhere. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be the guy that got them all from everywhere. And then I only go to one guy. I don't trust anybody else now.
Yeah, that's right. You stick to what you know. When you know you got a good guy, you just
he's great. So I'm just gonna stay there. But
well, I think we better let you go, man. We've taken a bunch of your time. I really appreciate
have
you.
Nothing to do. I don't care. Like, you can keep me here forever.
It's like Cara DioGuardi. We had to like Cara DioGuardi going. She's like, no, why?
What?
She had like her husband and a baby, and we're like, no, I'm sorry, we got to go.
Yeah, no, I literally have nothing to do. So if there's any other questions, I'm down. But if you guys need to go, kick me off.
We do have another podcast that we pushed a little bit to
we scheduled you guys a little too close together, probably. But you know,
it's all good, man.
Great. Yeah. Well, hey, thank you guys a lot for reaching out about the record, for listening to the shit on your own time and asking me to be on here. I do really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for killing it on the song. I think for us, it's always a nervous thing when you put it out there for someone else and give them some control, but you killed it.
Well, I'm glad that you guys kind of wanted us to take control of it, because I know like a lot of people would probably kind of stray away from like what we do on our shit, because it's like it's kind of out there. For the most part, it's definitely not what you hear on the radio, on the active rock radio anyway. So yeah, we both really appreciate you just kind of letting us have at it.
Right on, man.
Yeah, you got it, man. Thanks a lot.
No doubt.
And stay safe out there, man. We'll see you out on the road. 2022.
100%. Let's get on the road together.
2023 is looking good.
Yeah,
for a tour.
We're not booked for 2030.
Well, I only have a few years left in me, considering I turned 50 today. So
that's right. You're getting older and older as this goes on.
As time goes on. Well, thank you, guys.
Man. Peace.
Yeah, dude.
Later.
Talk to you later. Badass, man. Badass. Cool guy.
Yeah, that was cool. I like him. The youth movement is strong in music, I think. There's lots of exciting stuff. It's been a sort of a sad year, I think, in music, but it's like in this weird way, I think a lot of people are like prepping and like because of this, there's going to be this epic release of like a ton of amazing music in the next 5 years.
Well, we were also like, I like how we were discussing watching a lot of young talent. I think some people, as they get older in a band, they refuse to. They're like, well, they're stuck in their ways. I love it. I love looking at what these younger kids are doing, and I'm just like, that's awesome. Well, how do you even come up with that shit? I'm just kind of blown away. It's just like, it is kind of adapt or die in a sense where I really enjoy kind of having that kind of thing in our music, like Strangers.
Well, I notice even on like a sort of a industry level where, you get people like young people injected into, say, management or record labels. I think that's exciting because you start getting these new fresh ideas that people are just, connected to technology, sort of dependent on where, when they went through that time. As what I consider an older dog now in this business, I still have a hard time understanding how the social stuff really works and how people connect properly, where I feel like that's not an issue for the young people. They grew up and just, it all makes sense.
Yeah. I have to force myself to like, okay, I got to post something on Instagram, and it's a forced thing. It's not
we laugh.
We
laugh at each other because we know our fathers, and so it's like we know we're becoming them, and you start to like picture your dad doing something, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm becoming my dad now." It's all, yeah. How's this thing? How does this thing work? I noticed I was fixing something the other day, and I'm like, I'm all breathing heavy. I'm like, what is going on here? I'm getting tired. It's totally an old dad. I'm my dad.
Maybe something else.
Thanks to the youth movement.
I do usually like when I go for walks every day, so it's good to just get out of my house because I don't really go anywhere. It's nowhere for me to go. So I go for walks every day, and when I do, I listen to music. But I'll go on like Spotify and I'll listen to what's new or one of those new things.
Yeah.
And some of it's so good. Like it's stuff I'd never heard of any of these people. I mean, it's not even bands. It's a lot of it's just artists. But I sent you one. I think it was the Dijon.
Oh yeah. I checked it out. I love that song. It's killer.
Because it was almost like this kind of, very like acoustic, folky thing. But they had affected the vocals so it sounded like it was 8-bit and stuff. And I'm like, see, things I would never think of. It's just like adding the modern kind of style to an old school kind of sound. And I'm like, Dave's going to dig this. So yeah, I like new stuff like that. And that actually kind of triggers creativity for me. And then and then I go home and I try to think of cool to do.
Well, you got to go check out Zero's stuff, because if you haven't checked out his stuff yet, he's got so much really great material already available on YouTube and on Spotify and all those stuff. So just go check out his stuff. He's really worth the listen.
He's got a big following already. He's already got a million followers, I think, on Spotify, which is massive for a guy that I don't think has ever had a full-length album come out. But no, he's a super talented guy, and we it was all fluke how we found out about him. It was our A&R guy. We share the same A&R, Pete Gambarg, and it was his idea to get him on that song, and so we give him all the credit. And he actually, it was way better than what I thought. I checked him out. I'm like, this stuff's great. And I didn't know what he was going to do, but when I heard it, it was just like, I don't know what to say. This is great.
No comments. It sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's funny because you fall in love with stuff when you have music and you have it a certain way. It's like your babies, it's a hard time to like just let somebody in and do what they want. But at the same time, that's kind of like you say, it's the inspiration. It's inspiring. You let them do what they want. And then when they do something that blows your mind, you're like, man, that was really awesome. I'm glad I let myself allow you to come into this.
Yeah. So yeah,
because it's not always easy.
It's cool to start like a friendship like that too. Cause then, you can go tour together at some point.
Well, I think with rock music, it always has seemed like sometimes it's such a competitive genre. And I hated that. I've always hated that about it. I always wanted it, like you see hip hop, everybody features, everybody's in. And so I love seeing that he's kind of got that going on.
Yeah, we've bitched about this for years where we're like, how come we don't do more of these kind of things in our music? And it usually is a massive A&R disaster. It's always usually, if it's not on the same label or something, it's just like, nope, they just don't want to do it. So it's usually tough to even, there's usually so many non-starters of trying to get a guest on one of your songs. But maybe we'll do more of this stuff on the next record. I actually had some ridiculous idea. I mean, like, we could do a whole record with every song had a guest on it. I mean, maybe
yeah. I love that stuff.
But who knows? But
awesome.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast from the Tyler and Dave band meeting show, whatever it's fucking called. Who knows?
Whatever it's called.
It's irrelevant. Who gives a shit? You've already listened to it, so we
Tangents.
Got you.
Tangents.
Yeah, make sure you go check us out on all our socials and give us a like, subscribe on our pages, and go check out our website, bandmeetingpodcast.com, and the merch. Go get the merch. And, you'll get it in like 4 months because we handcraft them at home. Our moms make them.
Exactly. Talk to you all soon.